Welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, and Disembodied Hands, Quindy, Disembodied Beard, John, and probably somewhere in Earless Coroniko. Crowley, the key is just to always use the same two colors. Like, if you stick to two colors, plus white or black or whatever, then it's really easy to always match your color, or like, you'll get so close it won't matter. So, the fact that I'm doing all of the skin with Hydra Green and Blazing Forge, and then I'm just adding some white into the Forge, right, or into a mix of these two to get some highlights. Like, we're going to be taking the arms a bit more green today. And, you know, then the purple or the reddish tones are only on specific areas. So, you know, as long as you have, like that, as long as you know, okay, once this is all done, then I just add in some shadows with my purple. But you don't mix this into these. It makes it much easier to match everything. Like, when you're just working with two colors plus white, you can match all day long. Like, it's never going to change. Like, you're always going to get the right color. So yeah, like, that's how you do it. Like, if you're going to start mixing, I mean, I can do 3 at this point because I've, like, been mixing for so many years. Like 3 colors, I could technically start doing mixes of all of this, and I have done a little bit of that in places. But again, it's always these 3 colors, and it's going to be very evident to me very quickly if I'm going in the wrong direction, and then I just back out and do a different mix, right? So it's not like, especially if you're working on a wet palette. I don't know which palette you use, but a lot of people will use wet if they're doing just kind of organic blocking like this. So it's the easiest thing in the world to stop mixing green and purple together and start mixing orange and purple together if you're aiming for that. You're like, oh, I went the wrong way. Yeah, most people who start mixing, like, in my opinion, they do too much. Like, James Wapple is an exception because that man he was a 2D artist for decades before he became a miniature painter. He knows his pigments. He knows what color they make mixed together. He's like me. He can get away with it. Like, he can get away with just slobbering 5 or 6 different pigment colors onto a model all over the place. And he knows, like, he'll look at it, he'll like, oh yeah, that's how I match that. Or he doesn't care. He gets close enough, right? And that's the difference between, like, between the people who've been painting for decades and the people who are starting mixing or who have been mixing but who are very cautious about it, is that you get a familiarity, and you also understand that close enough is close enough. Like, you don't need, especially not if you're doing a lot of mixes, organic mixes like this, like where you've got a whole bunch of different shades as you transition from green to orange. But it doesn't matter if you hit it perfectly. It really doesn't. Like, the human eye isn't going to perceive it. And you know what? There have been mixes and models where I forgot what colors I used. I chose new colors, and when I painted, like, an arm or something, it was just slightly off. But then all I did was take, like, the color I was using for a highlight and applied it to the areas I had painted in a slightly different color, and that was enough to just drag it all together. So you don't, yeah. Okay, you use a tiny well palette. Yeah. Well palette, again, you're just mixing on top of the wells or whatever. But yes, the easiest way to start mixing and the way that's going to set you up for the most success is to only do 2 colors at a time. So if you're doing skin, like with this, and if you're doing, like, a different section of the skin just with this, like, and doing the card thing that I do where you keep track of what colors you're using, or some people use their phone and organize it into folders or whatever. I never remember to organize my photos into folders, so that doesn't work for me. So for me, the card that I just keep under the miniature or with the miniature in the box or wherever, you know, the card stays with the mini, no matter where it is. And then you can just there's a Kuro, good deal. The soundless void of work. But yeah, just keeping it to 2, and then, you know, 2 plus, if it's a shadowy color, then it's 2 plus brown liner, or 2 plus black, or 2 whatever shading color you're using. And if it's like a mid to highlight, then it's, you know, 2 plus white at the most, you know, and that keeps you, even if the colors aren't pure pigments, it keeps you perfectly fine. And for many people who aren't comfortable mixing pure pigments because they tend to lack coverage, and people aren't comfortable with adding white for coverage or a different high coverage color for coverage, like, you know, then this is the easy way to do it. But yeah, when you're doing mixes, when it comes to colors other than white or brown liner, whatever shadow color you're using, enough. Stick to 2. Just stick to 2 on any given area. Kiki, I want you to settle down now, or you're going to be called in here, and I'm going to close the door. Yeah, you're very barky today. I want you to settle. Come here. Yeah, no, I don't want you to be barking when we're painting Ghoul King. No, it's not bark time. It's not bark time. It is not, Pink Tongue. No, it's not. I know. You're very uppity this morning. Probably because Daddy had to get up early to go to jury duty. Yes, he did. And that meant we got up early, which was very, very irregular. When things are irregular, this little dog, she gets very wound up. Yeah, good. Yeah, but I saw them, especially if I'm mixing like weird tones like this, which have a lot of other colors in them, they aren't at all pure pigments. I find it very helpful to just stick to two. And then if it's too one note and I want something else, then I'm going to grab a different color and do glazes like I'm doing with this pink. Or do the shadows in purple like I'm doing under here. Right, but I'm going to do that separately. So yeah, when I'm mixing, I try to stick to 2 plus white or plus brown liner. All right. That said, let's get our stuff set up and start doing this. I was thinking about him, and I realized I really want, although I want the color to be lighter on his shoulders and upper arm, I think I want it to be greener. So, sorry about that. Drop the palette. Probably blew out your eardrums, guys. But yeah, so I think I want these arms greener. So we're going to be going with more green, a little less orange, and some white for the upper arms. I'll probably start by just glazing some greens over this area, just to bring them a little greener. I want them more like his sides are turning out there. I don't want him like too green, or he's probably, if I go too straight green with him, he's probably going to look more like a Troll King, but I don't care. Like, it's your vision for the model. Whatever you want to make the model is valid. Kiki has now shed all over. Kiki, why did you come here and dump your fur all over my table, my countertop here, my tabletop? Sigh. Sigh. All right. So with that, let's mix up our colors. So this really are the only colors we're going to be using today. Is going to be brown liner, right? And then our 3 colors that we're using for the most part. I've been using a little salamander orange, but I haven't been mixing with that. I've only been using it for glazing if I want to intensify the yellowy tones. So we'll start with brown liner. Benita is going to be sending me yet more new MSP 2.0s, so you guys can get all excited about that. And then we're going to take our sticks purple. Yeah, and I don't care. Like, ghouls are green too. They just tend to be gray-green, but I didn't want to do that with him. But yeah, I don't care. Like, we've been talking about it before. Like, you could paint him as a Goblin King. You could paint him as a Troll King. You could paint him as a Ghoul King. Like, his whole shtick with all of his, like, you know, dead people parts on him is definitely Ghoul King. But it's not like he would be a bad fit as anything else. I mean, any of those monsters would work just fine. So for me, I'm painting him as a Ghoul King, but I'm doing my own vision of it. So it doesn't bother me if people see him as something different. Like, when you limit yourself to, like, the established colors for, you know, these monsters, like, that's fine if that's what you want to do, but it should be your choice, not because you think other people are gonna have the wrong concept of what you're doing. I mean, if that matters to you, if you're like, he has to look like a ghoul, I need to paint him grayish green, okay, sure, that's your choice. But this color scheme is far more fun, in my opinion. So, yeah, do what you want. It don't matter. No. Really? Oh, he says ghoul to me. With the tongue and the undead bits, like all the corpse stuff, the snack packs on his waist. Yeah, he says ghoul to me. Maybe because he's not tall enough for a troll too. Like, he's actually not as tall as the trolls I painted. If I put Rock Troll next to him, Rock Troll's gonna be like this. Like, Rock Troll is big. So this guy definitely doesn't say that to me. But that's, you know, I'm sitting here staring. I've got Rock Troll right up there for reference. So But yeah. Yeah, and it looks like the Chimeras are getting the most votes as far as what I'm going to do a review, the paint line review, coming up. So I'll still do a review of those P3s that Valthorn dropped me at ReaperCon, but it's going to just be a little bit. Because we've got a lot. I'm sure 2.0 starts really moving at the start of next year. Alright, so there's our Blazing Forge, and here's our Pure White, and that gives us the really cool palette. I'll get a little bit more white. I might need to add it in the stuff. Now, I've been doing a lot of wet blending here, so I could be doing this on a wet palette. Wet palettes do kind of lead to more organic blending, but that also means that colors can get a lot muddier. So it is a little bit, I think, a little bit more advanced to use the wet palette sometimes, depending on how prone you are to just grab a little bit of something and mix it in. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people thought he looks like the Goblin King from The Hobbit too, so. But again, it doesn't matter what he is. And I kind of like a model that lets you do different things with it. I don't know about you guys. Like, it's far more versatile when you can kind of make it your own. Alrighty. These guys mixed up. And we will rock. But whatever he is, he's a kick-ass model. So, just saying. Just saying. Alrighty, we are getting all of this. And yeah, I'm not rinsing out my brush between transitioning from one color to another. But you can see how little difference that makes. There's our color scheme, very Halloween-y of us. Alrighty. Should we use our Chimera brush today? Give it a try, see if it sucks. This is their arrow shape. It's their new shape. So it's a flat, except it's a pointed flat. So it's interesting. So I'm curious to see. It's nice. It's still got its like glue. It's paste in it to hold it together. So I'm going to put a little bit of water in it to loosen it up. And gently break it out of its conditioner hold. It does seem very nice and pointy. I'll give it that. Okay, there we go. Got most of that out. It's like, yeah, there are brushes called daggers, and they are similar to this. Let me see. This might just be a tiny dagger. I'm used to daggers being bigger. Yeah, see, a dagger is different. And yes, there is a type of brush called a dagger, and this is the shape that it tends to be. So they tend to be like that, like they're, instead of like an angle, they've got a curve to them, but that's what a dagger actually looks like in brush parlance. So this, they're calling an arrow. Because if they called it a dagger, it would be actually wrong, as far as art parlance goes. But yes, good thought. It's good. Man, I've never used a dagger brush. I've never, like, for mini painting especially, different shapes of brushes for me are kind of overkill because we're working with such small things that I find you can do everything you need to do with a round. So unless you're working on terrain, then moving to a flat can help, or filbert. Yeah, this is weird. It's weird to actually even be using this, guys. It feels funny. It looks weird in my hand. I'm like, wait a minute, what am I doing here? Need to glaze over this little spot that I missed. Might need to thin my paint a little bit more. Even his dagger is shaped like the dagger brushes, though. So, yeah, this is a weird, like, even when I'm just, like, debating using it, it's like, ah! I was just putting it down. What do I do with this thing? It's funny, my brain looks at it and it's like, you've got the wrong brush. It's hilarious. Oh, I've been using rounds for too long, apparently. Alright, I'm gonna thin this down and get a glaze going on. That's really funny. Honestly, my brain just had a short circuit there when it was looking at the brush in my hand, and it's like, it was scared to use it. Like, it was like, nope. Nope. Yeah, you think it's funny, Carrie? I thought so. I'm gonna have to, like, I'll have to use it with a different model, just because it's like, my brain is just noping out on it. It's like, nope, this looks wrong. Nope, wrong shape. Put it away. Oh, Lord. That's funny. I was not expecting that. I was expecting myself to go, la la la, it's just another round, it's just a little weird. And then my brain was like, no. No, you shall not touch this model with that. Thou shalt not. Yeah, now I'm back to my round and my brain is so comfortable. Oh, weird. Weird, I didn't know that could be a thing, guys. Guess what? Your brain can get really accustomed to the shape of brush you use. Like, size doesn't matter either. Like, you know, I use the Rubeloffs, which are tiny compared to my normal brush size. Alright, I'm going to glaze some green in here. We're just going to bring green over a lot of this area, just in a light glaze. It's not the best glaze on the planet because olives always have a bit of black in them, almost always, and black just looks dirty. So this isn't like a real clean glaze that we're getting here. Need to get the back of that arm, it's just kind of meh. Yeah, right. So that's good. Like, but man, I didn't even know that could happen. Now I'm like curious. Now I'm like kind of scared to use it because if I get too accustomed to it, does that mean when I pick up a round, my brain is going to do that? It's going to be like, nope, no, give me my arrow brush. And knowing Chimera, I mean I love them, but like sometimes they have supply issues, and I'm like, so if I fall in love with this brush, am I still going to be able to get it? Like, I never know, because, like, it seems to me like the Chimera colors were really hard for me to get my hands on, and I could never get, like, the smaller sets, except when I went to ReaperCon, like, you know. Yeah, it's just you have to accustom yourself to it, right? You have to try it, you have to get used to it. Seriously, yeah. But yeah, your brain is looking at it and it's like picking up a knife when you need a spoon and you're just like, what? That was really funny. I was not expecting myself to be so discomfited by it. All right. So getting a little more green up there, I like that a little better. That helps differentiate from like the face and stomach. I'm trying to bring in more orange tones, warm tones on there. We've still got a lot of warmth up here, and that's good. But I'm going to get the back of the arm here a little bit more shaded in, blocked in with the darker green. But yeah, I'll try it again in a little bit. Maybe I'm doing the shadows, but it did not, like, my brain was like, you're going to be glazing, this is the wrong brush for glazing. I'm like, all right, brain, I trust you. I trust you, brain. It's so funny, though. Yeah, I know, right? The round is my go-to. Although I use, like I said, I use flats and filberts for big areas, but that's like the right tool for the job. I think my brain, Carrie, I think the problem is my brain is not sure what the right job for that brush is yet. Because I do have a very regimented mind. Like I do tend to put things in boxes a lot as far as what is the most efficient way to do X. And so if my brain it doesn't know what that brush is good at, like most efficient for, it's probably stopping me. It's probably it's pinging my strategic saying that is not optimal for this. Put it away. Because it was such a visceral reaction. It was so funny. So it's got to be like a core tenet, a core personality tenet. It's got to be one of my strengths. It's almost got to be strategic because that's my number one. And strategic is all about the best. And if it can't figure out what the best use for that brush is, it's going to be like, why are you even bothering? Grab your round. Grab your round that you're so good with. Right? So it's funny. Yeah, maybe that explains why you like the broader brushes, too, if you're used to filberts. This is just a pointed filbert, right? I mean, a very narrow pointed filbert, but it's still same kind of thing, right? Same, probably handles very similarly. So I'm trying to clean up this. It's a little bit mucky back here on the back of his arm. The rest of this is looking pretty good, but I need to unmuckify some of this underneath stuff. Oh no, there's a giant Kiki hair on my palette. Get off, Kiki hair. I don't know where it came from either. It just appeared there. Poof. I'm gonna mix just a straight olive green, a lighter olive green with my white and olive color so that I can block in a little bit more of this olive without going yellow with it on the underside of the arm. Because I want to get a nice solid coat in there. It's looking a little streaky, but I don't want it warm. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, some people really like different shapes of brushes, and some people don't, has been my experience. Just even in art school, way back when I was taking art classes in college. It definitely is a... I feel like if miniatures, if people painted more bigatures, like... Because like I said, on really small models, I feel like it doesn't get full utility. But if we painted more bigger stuff where other shapes of brushes started to come in and be useful, be more useful, I feel like then that brush choice would be even more of a part of a painter's style. So I'm going to bring in a little purple too under here. I'm going to build a purple glaze though. Yeah, I'll have to like try it out on a different model. Maybe I'll try it out on a bust. But I have to play with it to see what it's good at. Just so my brain and my gut can feel what it's good at. Like intellectually, I can see, oh yes, I should be able to do this with this, but at the same time, my whole being was like, no. I think you can order them. Didn't you say, Carrie, did you say they had them on Dracoya? Or don't they? Like Dracoya, Dracoya, is Chimera's American distributor now. I think they've got a partnership. And they're the ones fulfilling the Kickstarter in America. By the way, they were awesome when I contacted them about my missing items. They got back to me like within a day, and a day after that, after I responded to them, my package with my items was in the mail, and they gave me a tracking number. So it's not registering yet. It hasn't shipped out yet, but at least I have a number. It's boxed up. It's waiting for pickup. If it's like the last time, I should get it within 5 to 7 days, which should be plenty of time for Christmas. So that's really good. Yeah, they were really good to deal with, Quindy. They just had a placeholder for brushes. Okay. So hopefully, though, they will get some of the Aero brushes, and then they'll be actually available in the U.S. That's one thing about the weird, crazy tariffs, right, is that if it makes it hard for these companies to sell to the US, they're going to build these partnerships, right? Because you can't tell me that the European miniatures world doesn't make a ton of their money off of US sales. Because that's the way it is even with books. Like, people who write in other countries want to sell to the US market because the US market is the biggest. So I kind of think that that's probably similar to the way it is in miniatures. Like, there's a huge market in America. Yeah, fan. Yep, yep. Yeah, I always loved the look of fan brushes, but yeah, exactly what you say there. They're difficult to like find a use for, and when you do, it's such a unique brushstroke. I think it's instantly evident what you used. I know people who cut them up a little bit, make them more jagged, so they're more irregular. Or I used to know people, I should say. I don't hang out with a lot of canvas painters anymore. Yeah, it sucks that we can't just order stuff. Like I said, I had to really work for Christmas this year because the tariffs meant I wasn't going to be ordering models from Europe because we couldn't guarantee they would get here or get bounced back until they clear up that stuff. Ah, okay. They have the size 2.0 in the Picasso world. All right. Yeah, 2.0 is what I've got. It's a nice size. It's about as long as my poor little, okay, I'm using my Series 7 today. So it's about as long as my normal Da Vinci. Where are you, Da Vinci? Yeah. Yeah. So there's Da Vinci and Aero. Da Vinci 1 and Aero 2. And you can see the difference. Face on, it's a little wider. Edge on, it's much narrower, which is going to enable you, as Carrie says, to do a very narrow stroke or a wider stroke. So a little more. I mean, it's kind of like what I do when I need a narrow stroke. I flatten out my round a bit until it's more like a paddle, and then I do it that way. So it's almost like paddle shape, only built in. But yeah, so you can see the difference in the two brushes, but they both have very sharp tips. Yeah, Bryce. This is the new Chimera. I just got my Velvet's Kickstarter, my Velvet Acrylic Inks Kickstarter from them. So I tried to use it, and my inner Anne like had such a visceral bad reaction, not because it was a bad brush, but because I just don't know what to do with it. So I'm putting it aside, and I'm just going to use my round today. Because I need to like work through some things. Obviously I have some issues I need to work through with this brush, folks. Lol. I need a brush therapist. How do you feel about the brush, Anne? So here I'm doing some wet blending, and just like I said, I'm only ever using 2 colors plus white. So my orange and my green. I'm going to try to blend in and really get the back set up today. Carrie loves this brush, Bryce. Carrie Michael loves this brush. So don't just take my word for it. My weird strategic brain wanting to optimize for everything doesn't know what to do with this, word for it. Carrie Michael really likes it, so. I bet I will really like it too once I get used to it. Like I said, I just hope I don't get too used to it and then can't order it. That would make me grumpy. So grumpy. You regret only ordering 2. Yeah, exactly right. Comfort food. Oh man. David would laugh at me. He would just dive in and brutalize the thing, and I would be like, no, it's a new delicate brush. I must figure it out. I'm weird that way. So I want to make a little shadow there, but then there's a little bit of flab that comes out on the bottom, so I want to highlight that. Highlight the flab. None of us like to highlight our flab, but, Lordy. Man, I lowered my calories yesterday because I was sick of overeating holiday food. And I slept so well last night. Like, I thought it was kind of in my head that when I eat less, I sleep better, but it seems to really be a thing. I didn't think about it until this morning when I woke up going, wow, I slept so well. And then I realized, oh, I didn't eat very much yesterday. So I'm going again a little stronger with the greenback here, and I'll glaze a bit over some of this very yellow stuff if I want to bring it up. Um, and we need to get these pustules as well. Oh, Spoons, thanks for the resub. Oh, you got a special resub. Hold on. Let me get this little nubbin off of this pustule. Boy, that sounded weird. The things you hear on miniature streams. And I need to get that little one out of there, too. There we go. All right. Now we have to sing. Oh, boy. Six tuple subversary, six tuple subversary, six tuple subversary. Happy six tuple subversary. There we go, Spoons. Thank you for 6 years. An insane amount of years. Michigan Toy Soldier. Oh, nice. Yeah, Michigan Toy Soldier, just champion, really. Just totally champion site. No problem, Spoons. Thank you. Hi, Kiki. Kiki came running. You came running, huh? Do you want to say hi to stream? You want to say hi to stream? She's like, well, there's this box here, Mama. Okay, now no boxes. Come on up. She doesn't like to jump up when there are boxes on the floor. I can't blame her. Kiki says hello and thank you, Spoons. Thank you, Spoons. Yeah, we thank Spoons. 6 years along is twice as old as you, Bubba. Twice as old as you. Yeah. Yeah. Good girl. All right. And now there's more fur. I can't win. Oh, no. No. The floofy tail. Yes, the floofy tail is here. So Bryce, I'll have to ask Amy if she wants to beta read my other series. I've been working on Queenmaker. It's a pseudo-Victorian fantasy with lots of political and more political things like suspense and danger. All right, I'm going to get these guys mixed up. I've been working on it for December. I did 1,600 words on Queenmaker yesterday, guys. Did a lot of words. Been waiting so long to really get moving on it. Have the next, 6 chapters outlined. Yes, just unequivocal yes, she'll read it. It'll still have cute animals in it. Because, cute animals. Although they'll be a little bit different. Not quite upfront cute animals, but we'll get there. I'm just glazing with green here just to bring that down a little bit more toward the green, a little less orange. And I'll likely do the same up here. You already know the answer. Yeah, the city that the main character comes from is very, very pseudo-Victorian. Because I actually really love Victorian fantasy. I cannot lie. I've read a fair amount of it. I like taking that type of world and throwing magic into it. But this is a little bit more fantasy than it's just I wanted that society, that feel for society. Kind of that thing. That vibe. That is not even a question. All right. Alright, so we're bringing up some white into our orange up here after we've glazed with the green. We're going to knock out our orange a little bit. Knock it back a little bit. So it's not quite as bold. Cool. Well, we'll see how far I get in Queenmaker this December. Obviously, once the relatives show up, I'm not going to be doing much writing. But I have 3 weeks. 3 weeks to see how far I can get with the story. And then depending on when I come back, I'll start working on North of the Wind. So yeah, just glazing some green over this. I'm going to bring it up a little bit more with the pale green I've mixed. Just kind of trying to green it out a little bit more. But yeah, I like Queenmaker. It's coming along. No, Baba. Oh, you live in Michigan. Yeah, it totally makes sense for you to order from MTS. Yeah, it'll probably be a while for the Queenmaker stuff. We'll see. Still planning to put it up for free on Royal Road to see if I can snag some eyeballs. And keeping a little bit more of the yellowy color up here, but I still want it to look more green. Queenmaker is my first book with a really structured magic system. Hey, Matthew. So bringing a little purple in some places back here on the back of the arm. What that does is make it look a little bit cooler. And I'm just really glazing around like things like this little vein here. Bring the purple up in here. Might bring a little bit of purple around the spine. Not sure. Purple's supposed to be the shadow, but it can also be a little bit of a weird accent color. Maybe I'll put, well, I'm going to have some pustules back here. And then I need to get my orchid purple for the pustules, so let me grab that. Maybe, plus I can put some, I should put some on the elbows. Elbows tend to be a little bit pinker as well. So let's get our orchid out and do some of that. This is the closest thing we're using to a red. Ah, more Kiki fur. I swear. It's everywhere, guys. It's everywhere. I need to brush her again tonight. She's just like, the fur is just spouting off of her. Alright, so there's our orchid purple, which is very reddish. But still within the realm of purple, so for me it still satisfies the green, orange, purple secondary triad scheme that we're doing. And it's not a high coverage color at all, so I'm thinning it down a bit. It's gonna become fairly translucent. But it's great for glazing. And actually I probably need to build, you can see I've got some glazing puddles here on the next row up. So I probably need to build a glazing puddle. There we go. And then this is our green plus white. Turns out very much like pale olive. Alrighty, so there's our full range, and it's all, these are glazes of these colors. This is green plus white, and that's a glaze of, you can see how thin it is on the side of the palette there. Glaze of the orchid purple. We'll get that going on. Figured out all my stuff for the Patreon yesterday, so I have hopefully a couple of videos to shoot today. I am going to shoot one kind of about my schedule for the YouTube. That one won't go up on Patreon, it'll go up on the YouTube just a bit. I'm actually going to tell them about my books. I haven't ever talked about my books on the YouTube. But since the direct cause of me not getting more videos out in November was Three Favors and its launch on October 2. I figure I can talk about it a little bit on that video and let them know that I'll probably be doing more YouTube content come February-ish. And hey, my YouTube channel has a fair number of subscribers, so never hurts to talk to more people about your book. And I'll put a link to it in the notes. We'll see if anybody out on the YouTubes who watches my stuff is interested in my books. So putting a little bit of that reddish color here over the elbow. It's kind of the same as on the knuckles here, just want little touches of it. Want to bring that color in here and there, so I repeat it around the model. But yeah, totally super hard to get ad traction right now in the Facebook ads. So I think my December is going to be not as good as my December last year, but that's all right. We'll have another shot at pushing the signal when we get north of the wind out. There's a marketing guy named Joe Solari whose work I follow, who is very much about the whole, every launch is an opportunity for you to push the signal, and in between books is really hard to push the signal, so you should put a lot of resources into your launches. based on how this launch turned out, I would say I'm giving him some credence now. All right, so you can see that pink elbow coming in there. Just a little bit more of that color. I can get my glaze and actually put it into the green a little bit around the elbow. Oh, thanks, Crowley. Thank you, thank you. It is a hard time of year to get attention. But last December, I think it's because I had a well-performing ad already going by the time we got into the holidays. And that ad like carried me through December and ended up making my most profitable month. Though my second most profitable is last month because of the launch working out so well. The launch and the sales. So get our little pustules painted in red here as well. I'm using a pretty thick coat to get the pustule outlined at first, and then I'm going to glaze with that color. Mother Kiki fur on my model. I'm going to glaze that color around them to create a reddish discoloration, inflammation. Hey, Roger. Yeah, reviews are slowly coming in for the new book. I'm hoping I'll get pretty good climbing reviews after the promotion that I just ran. But we never know. When you're selling books for 99 cents, sometimes people won't actually read them. They just hoard them. So we'll see. We'll see. So a little bit of a highlight in the middle of those little guys. Let's get closer. And I'm using my closest thing to yellow, which would be the Blazing Forge plus white for that highlight in the middle of the pustule. The zit, the giant zit. And then I'm going to add some reddish discoloration in the skin around that by using the glaze that I built out of my orchid purple. I gotta load up and unload my brush. Unload, 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 because there's so much fluid in the glaze. It's a very lightweight glaze. It's hardly going to show up. Just going to need to build it up a little bit in a couple layers. We can see that kind of grim. But that's the point of like layering with really thin paint, is it lets you get that seamless blend or close to it. And also just take our green and blend it in a little bit. So you can see how that's given kind of a reddish discoloration to the skin around those little pustules. And because we're layering with it, with the glaze, it's not pooling, so we don't need to worry about any weird artifacts. There. So that's nice. That adds a inflamed kind of look. We'll do down here. I think I want to paint this area, background area, a little bit more. I need to clean up all of this too. just bringing some light in here. I'm going to start blending this in a little bit. Yeah. There's a reason he's grumpy, green users. And I just gotta make sure that I'm being consistent about my shadows. Keeping them darker where they need to be darker, or we'll lose some of that drama that we've got, that contrast. Like that. But the back here is all in. We could put a little purple up here. Like that's the only place for it really, of the darker purple, in these creases, these deep creases. And down here. Because you can see the purple shadow underneath here. So we're gonna also do that over here. It's not as like profound because there's not as much of a roll here, but there's enough to put a little bit of purple in there. And then like you're like, okay, this is a different color than this, that's fine. We just start working in some of the lighter orange and a little bit of white. I mean, the two sides of the model don't need to be perfectly balanced or identical. They just need to have enough in common that you can see that it's all the same model, that the shadows and highlights are consistent. Putting a little bit of purple in here. There we go. Just pulling this together uniformly. But yeah, this month's YouTube video is 28mm faces part 3. I'll do eyebrows, eyes. We'll be doing them on this lady here. I did her lip color already. Going to do the eyebrows and the eyes. And probably that's going to be about what we're doing. Because I think everything else looks pretty good on her face. And then the Chimera Velvets review probably for the $5 tier, and the Dragon Masterclass this month will be the mouth, tongue, and gums and teeth. Put a little bit of purple underneath here again. Bring in that shadow. You see how dark it makes it look? And actually I'm finishing Yasmin's paint along this month. I'm going to be putting up a poll for what we should do for my new paint along. So if you're on my Patreon and you're on the paint along tier, keep an eye open for that. I'm going to pull from the suggestions that people have made over the last many paint alongs. So we have a lot of previous suggestions. So, and I can see how things are smoothing out here as I work it. And I've gone over this area a couple of, more than a few times now, just kind of blending and adding in a little more green and building it up. And as you do that, as you use super thin layers to go over a surface over and over, it gets smoother. Like it all just starts to look a little bit more in line with itself. I'm going to grab, I've got some wrinkles here, so I'm going to grab my purple and get them really lightly traced. Just a couple little wrinkles in there. Then I can bring that purple shadow into that roll of fat. I'm seriously considering going back to do a little bit of keto diet this coming year. I just keep thinking about how good I felt on it in a lot of ways. So maybe it's time to go on that again. And all my cravings went away when I was on keto too. So I'm going to wait till after the vacation. And then I'll maybe do a few months of it. There. So when I use that purple, it really creates that dark shadow, which is the dramatic kind of shadow that we've got going on his front as well. Painted in. So And that's a large part of what makes this model look really cool. I really need to tack him down. I haven't glued him to his base. And he rocks a bit. I need to do some work on the model for David's mom so I can go back to my Golden Demon entry. I think I'll be streaming this coming Saturday. Hey Richard, how's it going? Using my orange to lighten this area a little bit. Don't want it to go super orange, but if I paint it over the green, it won't. Alrighty. So I'm going to grab a little bit of my green. I want to make that little wrinkle show up a little bit better. I'm going to paint over that purple line with a bit of my dark green, my Hydra green. Kind of create a little mini bulge there. I want to blend that in a little bit. When you're doing wrinkles, it's kind of like doing tattoos. You kind of want to not have anything be too harsh of a line. There we go. So now we're getting that little bit. Oh, nice. Nice, Richard. Yeah, a couple days off work is great. I mean, I loved the 4-day weekend I just had. It was super awesome. It let me really get ready to go into my December with a plan, since I'm going to lose the last week to vacation again. Then it's going to be nice because, like, I don't have any trips until Adepticon. Bryce, are you coming to Adepticon whether or not you have the model done, or are you only going to come if you have the model done? Epic Space Marines. Tiny! Yeah, you're going to come? Awesome! You can hang out with us. We finally have somebody else to hang out with. It'll be good to have another person to chill with. David knows more of the Europeans by face than I do. So I often feel like even though we're in a painting community, we're not really in a painting community. It's weird. Because obviously all the British guys know each other. It's a different vibe now than when I was doing demons. I'm just getting another really thin layer of that lighter green here, just to even out the surface. A couple different layers. You can see how smoothly blended this is starting to look as I build up these layers, so you can also see. You must get it done. Yeah, David's stuff is looking really good. He's been splitting his time now between that and the mini we're trying to get done for his mom for Christmas. And that also dragged me away from my stuff a little bit, so I want to get back to my boy. Get back to Lion. Would be nice to finish it. Just bringing out a bit more green to cover up some of this orange. Just a little, just pushing it a little bit toward the green. Oh, because there's so many finalists in Essence, so they're all going to bring their stuff over and try to win our demons, yeah. I kind of feel like we should, I kind of feel like Team North America should be a thing again. Like, we should not let them take our demons. Like, there should be a concerted effort on our part. But on the other hand, it's nice to see some of that stuff in person, so. My inner competitive person is just like, grrr. And my other Anne is just like, eh. Well, I'm going to try to get mine done, so. I'm glad that you're determined to get yours done too, Grace. Like, just imagine how good it's going to feel to get that sucker done. And finally have it, like, see it's, like, come to fruition, as it were, right? Be a real thing. Just have to paint better. Well, New York, I think spring's going to come a little later, so if they want to see like things blossoming and stuff, they might try April or May Twistedoma. I think summer is only worth like going up there if you're going to upstate New York, because that's beautiful. If you're going up to Niagara Falls or anything like that, then it is worth to going a little bit later, probably May or June. I used to go up to that area in August, and it was really gorgeous. Hot, humid, but gorgeous. Everything is NMM gold. God, that takes so long too. NMM takes so long. You're gonna like hate it by the time you're done. That was me like painting Lemon Russ. Space Wolves Primarch. Everything was freaking, all the trim. It took me 20 hours, 20 or 25 hours just to do the NMM on that model. So much. And yes, you guys just heard me, 20, 25 hours to do NMM on a single model. Yeah, where my bus that's MIA. Yeah, I know. I'll find it eventually. I'm just baffled. Like, I knew I put it somewhere, so it would be kind of out of sight because I needed it to kind of percolate. I needed to like get myself like all revved up to figure out how I wanted to finish it. And that I hid it too well. It's got to be in the hobby closet somewhere. Like, I know it's in there somewhere. If I cleaned out the whole hobby closet, I would find it. But cleaning out the hobby closet would take, like, days. So that's not going to happen. Yeah, April's probably still going to be cold. Yes. I mean, if they really want it to be warm, they almost have to go in summer. But, I mean, May is their last... At that point, then it's got to be May, right? If April is too cold, then they don't want to go in summer. It doesn't leave them too much time. I'm going to get a little bit more green in here. It's a little bit rough. It's not quite as smooth looking as some of the other parts. Hey there, Richie. Yes, display. Yep. I mean, the key there's a lot of ways to get around the board, right? And part of it is you can work on a couple different models, like essentially taking breaks from your display level figure to work on some other stuff, and just going back to your display model when you have the groove for it. I mean, the other option, honestly, though, like for me, because I don't like to sit on a model for too long or it really loses life in my mind, but I also get bored. I have that kind of brain. The answer for me then, Richie, is just to paint on that model when I'm doing something to distract my brain, i.e. listening to a podcast, half watching a movie. You know, I used to put on, when I really needed to bust in hours on mini painting, I would put in Lord of the Rings. Because I had watched those movies enough that I didn't have to watch every scene. I would just stop and watch my favorite scenes. But it was still, like, enough, because I loved the movies. It was enough to keep my brain from thinking about how bored it was with the model. And I would get a lot of work done. So there are tactics to distract your boredom brain. And that's, honestly, it's one of the best ones that worked for me. And if you really want to paint like display level pieces, like I think that's one of the better tactics if you have that kind of like I get bored brain. Also, you have to question though. Sometimes it's honestly I get bored brain, and sometimes it's kind of like fear of failure, where, you know, because it's a display level model, you're really, really hoping that it will turn out, but part of you is scared that it won't, especially if you're new to display level painting. And that can make your brain essentially betray you, because your brain will feel the pressure and it'll be like, oh, this is not good. This is stress. We don't like stress. Let's just get distracted by something else. And it'll actively work against you. So you got to kind of be a little self-aware at some point and question if that's what's happening, or if you honestly are just getting bored. Also, try to pick a model that's like, one of the other tactics you can use is pick a model that's simpler to paint to a really high standard. That way it doesn't take you as long. You get more, like, you know, satisfaction quicker, rather than painting the most complex thing that you can think about for display. Yeah, the fear is totally real. Like, my husband doesn't hit it, as far as I know, at this point in his hobby career, but I still hit it from time to time. Even with as much experience as I have painting, I'm still afraid that it won't turn out, you know, the way that I hope it'll turn out. That's partially why I paint in sections like this, though, so that I can see that a section looks really, really good, and then that directly motivates me to get the rest of it, done, right? Because I can look at the piece I have done and go, oh, that's really good. This is gonna be a really good model. And once I start thinking that way, then I'm like, okay, this is gonna turn out good, and then the fear goes away, and then I can paint. And I'm not gonna get bored because I'm excited by the fact that it's turning out so well. So it keeps me engaged with the model. The models I tend to abandon here on stream, which we do every once in a while, are the ones that just aren't working out the way I wish they would, and I'm just not getting the feedback that I want from them, and I don't like how they look, and I'm just like, I'm done with this. So it's less that I get bored with the mini and just that I just don't like it, and I acknowledge to myself that I don't like how it's turning out, and then I just let it go. And you're going to have those models, like you'll pick a model to try to do a high-end job on, and it will just fight you. And there comes a point where it's like, you can put the model in a box and set it aside, and you may or may not ever come back to it. I have thrown out models, even after I've like painted a good face, just because the rest of the model just was not looking good. Yeah. Yeah, for sure, Brace. But yeah, ideally, even if you have boredom brain, like, I mean, that's another reason I paint in sections, is because that means that when I get bored with skin, I can switch to stone, or I can switch to wood, right? I can swap to a different texture and section. Wow, there's like lint and Kiki fluff on here. Seriously, Kiki? Seriously? My dog. Putting her mark on the mini. So that can be another thing. If you're getting bored with one part of the model, you might not be bored with the entire model. Yeah, that can also be a thing. What Twisted Oma says is if you want to get good but you're a little impatient about it, it can be hard because then you think you should be improving faster. But the thing is, again, it is time, right? So I got very good very fast when I dedicated a large chunk of time to it. So like if you're impatient, then like kind of throwing yourself into it and painting something, like putting extra time in so you can paint faster and finish something faster can also be a tactic. Because some people need that momentum, like they need to be making progress like every day or every other day. Or they start they start not being engaged with it, right? That's a thing that can happen. And some people are perfectly able to pick the model up once a week and get engaged with it again. So it's very individual. Creativity is so very individual. Little nubbins. Sorry, I got a couple of little 3D print nubbins. Inevitably, there's going to be a little bit of nubbin here and there. So yeah, if you know you get bored with stuff, maybe start kind of watching yourself to figure out like when you get bored, like if there's a trigger for it. Like, do you get bored when you hit the hard part, right? Do you get bored when you hit a part that you're not quite sure how to paint, It can kind of help you engineer like why you're reacting. But some of us do just have like brains that like novelty. Sometimes sharing your model with someone as it's progressing can help you get past that. When I was working on my huge Soldier 76 Overwatch statue, which took me like 140 hours, I would have stopped if I wasn't sharing pictures, work in progress pictures with. I was on an Overwatch Discord at that point, so I was sharing with those people, and I was also sharing with David. So finding a painter friend or someone who likes the subject matter of your model, and like kind of not keeping yourself accountable, but kind of sharing it with them, sharing your progress with them, can motivate you to want to progress more, and it can help you get past the boredom thing. For me, though, after a point, I realized that I was happier if it was less about the model I was painting and more that I was just enjoying painting itself, like the act of painting. And so it was just like, it became like a way to relax for me. And so then it was like, hey, it's time for me to sit down and put some paint on a mini and listen to my, my favorite music or my podcast or my whatever. And it was just something I looked forward to. So it didn't so much matter then the subject matter as much as, oh, it's time for me to sit down and relax and do the things I like to do. So it can also be just a mindset like that. It's a big difference between painting eyes on a car and painting eyes on a cat, huh? That's cool. But yeah, like that's why, I mean, David and I go to art galleries a lot, especially when we're on vacation, and looking at how paintings artists have done it is useful. It's not, sometimes it's not a one-to-one, but as you can almost always take something away from a canvas painter, whether it's texture or a color scheme, skin colors, where they've highlighted the face. So you can see we've got a lot of green over here. We obviously have some orange tones that we need to bring in over here. But again, this is just a base coat. I'm just blocking. We've got more of our orange tones showing up back here. And that's in line with how we left the orange tones up here. We left the orange tones here. So that looks good. I'm happy I'll stick with that. Oh, Jesus, after 11. Dang, guys. I was just chilling with y'all. And here we suddenly it was time to wrap things up. But I want to add a purple shadow in here. This arm is closer to the body, so there's going to be a little bit more shadow. And again, a little bit of purple shadow around that vein to bring it out. The other thing the purple shadow is doing, by the way, and the reason I love purple shadows on greens, is that the red in the purple shadow is directly complementary to green, right? So that's why you're getting this really kind of naturalistic looking shadow here. It's a more naturalistic shadow than trying to shade with just the green, which is very one note. Nature has complex shadows. Like there's always like light bouncing, color bouncing, like the colors are being muted, the color of the light comes into play, right? It's actually really complicated. And so by putting, especially this purple's a little grayed out, so I'm mixing in a complementary in or very close to it, and that I'm also muting it, and so this purple works really, really well to introduce a more natural shadow. Even though it's a colored shadow, it still looks more natural. Now you could go hypersaturated with this purple, be using clear purple or something, and that would definitely make it slide more fantasy looking. But you can see that purple really coming in clutch, making some really good effects here on the model. Coming in clutch. I've been watching too much esports lately. My Overwatch League my Overwatch Champions Series just had its grand final. Using esports terminology on stream. What's the world coming to? There we go. But yeah, hopefully you can see that, how that just brings in a much more interesting look. And purple, man, you can always reach for purples to shade greens. Like, they're so good at it. I love the complexity of the color you get. It gives you just always want to thin it down so you get that kind of weird mingled color where the purple and the green meet each other. And it lets you not completely eclipse the green. You're just like creating a whole new kind of color the way it overlays. Hey Slayer. We were just wrapping up. Alright, so we cleaned up the back of this arm. We got the whole back blocked in and refined. I think I still need a little bit on the spine there. I want to highlight a little bit more and bring the light up a little bit more toward the top, but I can do that more when I come back in to, refine everything, to smooth out everything, so it's all right. It is weird mingled color. It's exactly what it is. It's why I would never mix the purple with the green. I would much rather glaze it over, because it gives you can see the green and you can see the purple, and that the light is filtering through both paint layers. And that's why it looks so cool. So I really love glazing up complex shadows. I think they look fantastic. Hey Kiki, did you hear? Did you know that it was time to wrap the stream? Yeah? Hi little dog. Scritchy head. Good girl. She's like, is it my walk time yet, Mom? I've come to shed. Oh, there she goes, shaking. There's fur flying in the air. It's all over my arm. Oh, Kiki. I think I maybe need to brush her after her or before her walk. It's just terrible. Yeah. Green and purple mingled are just fantastic in general. So I really wanted, I haven't done it in a while. I really love how it looks, so I'm glad that we got to do it on this model. So we're really coming along on the skin tones here. He's looking great. He's looking great. Oh, I think I like this one too much to give to Ron. Yeah, don't tell Ron, John, but I'm probably gonna keep this one. Yeah, Kiki, should we keep it? Yeah, I think so. But he looks great. He looks great. Now his back is all blocked in. Yeah, and I want more warm on the front than on the back. We can actually cool down the back. We might make everything a little cooler. If we want the light to really be coming from the front, we could cool down this entire model at the back. And that would be fun, so maybe we'll do that. And that'll be entirely glazing. Like, just really just glazing the purples into there. Sorry, I'm trying to get some of the Kiki fur and nubbins off of this. Ah, Kiki. Shed everywhere. All right. Well, thank you, Quindy. Thank you, John, for your elite modding skills. Tomorrow's going to be, we're going to be finishing up, I think, Fraulein, where we were working on her stone. She looks good. I still need to do her eyes. Her eyes and finish up the stone. But and there's a little bit of gold trim that needs to be done. So, all right. So we'll work on her tomorrow. It's way past her time of year, so we'll just try to bust through everything and get her done. All right, everybody. I think that's good. Yeah. All right. I'm going to get to my barky dog and leave you guys to do your thing. I mean, I have tweezers. Mostly I just pluck the hair. But I often use a knife tip to scrape it off if it's gotten primed on or whatever. I tend to use a knife tip. But yeah, I have tweezers. I just don't get them out. All right, guys. Much love. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Have a lovely day. And there we go. All right. See ya.